Hello and welcome back to Redirecting. Well, I have another story I'm going to be sharing with you, which comes as no surprise to any of us at this point. But to this man, I'm pretty sure it was a surprise because when these things happen, you're not really expecting them to happen. So sometimes you just don't know how to respond. Well, apparently there's a woman who called 911 after spotting a black man with a brand new SUV Infiniti. Because she couldn't believe her eyes, she felt the need to intervene. So the article on Raw Story goes on to say that a black man from Ohio recently found himself under police scrutiny because a woman called 911 to report that he was driving an expensive car that she assumed must have been stolen. Local news said that 35-year-old Philip Evans of Salone, Ohio, last week noticed that there was a woman filming him with her phone while he was loading groceries into his car at a Giant Eagle parking lot. He goes on to say, I'm like, is this lady videoing me? Is she taking pictures of me? Evans recalled saying to the news. While the woman filmed him, she also called 911 and claimed that Evans was behaving suspiciously while putting away groceries in his vehicle. She goes on to say, there's a brand new SUV Infiniti, black, and sitting in the parking lot, and the guy kept looking around, loading up his groceries, the woman said. He's going real slow. He's just acting real funny, loading the car, and he kept looking around. The woman also said to the 911 operator, I hope you get him, just before she hung up the phone. Police pulled him over shortly afterward, although Evans credited the officers with being professional and doing their jobs. However, he tells News 19 that there's no reason they should have been called to the scene in the first place. I heard the recording and the part at the end where she says, I hope you get him. That kind of really hurt, he said. Like, what does she want them to get me for? She didn't see me do anything wrong. Okay, so no one is surprised that these kind of stories are happening. No one. But one thing I will make note of is that the man said that he was really hurt by this. Now, I get that you're hurt because you're like, why are people doing these kinds of things? But when you pay attention and understand the time we're living in, you wouldn't be hurt, you'd be upset. You'd be more angered than anything. Hurt means that you care what these people say and how they feel about you. I guess everyone expresses their feelings differently, and some of you may come in the comment section and say, well, everybody does this and that differently, because in the past I've talked about how men respond versus how women respond to things. And personally, I wouldn't have been hurt. I'm a woman. I wouldn't have been hurt. I would have been upset. You see, because I know that these things are happening. I don't pretend like we're in a post-racial society. I'm not one of those who says, I can't believe this is happening in 2020. We get a lot of our people who actually say things like that as if they don't know what has been happening for the past 400 years. That's where I am with things. But I take special interest and take note when a man cries or when he says he's hurt by this. Because these are people who are not operating fully in reality. Now, some of you all, again, you're not going to understand this, but we got to get up out of that particular place and we got to understand what we're dealing with here. We've got to stop being hurt and distraught and disheveled and brought to tears because of how these people are treating us. We've got to learn how to better navigate through this stuff. I think anger would have been a better response. And that's just my opinion. And those of you who think crying and all that stuff is okay, that's fine for you as well. That's just where you are. Okay. But I believe strongly that we've got to grow up and understand the time we're in and not continue to make excuses for these people because there's something going on. Okay. I know what prophecy says, and I understand that the Most High Yah of heaven, the Creator, I understand that He has allowed these things because of other things. And we talk about these things on our ministry channel often. Some of you all need to understand that you're not really into the Bible and prophecy and stuff like that. So you're like, okay, what is this woman talking about? But if you were to look at some of this stuff and you see what's happening in the Black community, you just might open your eyes and say, oh my goodness, this is what folk are talking about? This is us. I remember reading in the book of Jeremiah one day, and it hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, this is talking about Black people. It was no getting around it. I was just floored with what I was reading. And so many other areas in the Bible as well. As we study more and more, we're going to stories that we say this can't be anyone else but us. That's our history. And so understanding all of this is a must, okay? We can lay aside the tears and begin to understand what's happening. Stop being shocked, surprised, and hurt when these Gentiles do what the Bible prophesied that they would do. Okay? But learn how to better navigate through all of this. That's my take on it. I'm done with this video. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel, share and like this video. And with that, I am out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.